Another Marvel show. Nothing special, but also nothing awful. Just standard mediocrity. Mid, if you will. But then I made the mistake of opening Twitter. Hey, follow me, by the way. And people were either acting like this show was the second coming of Infinity War, or acting like it killed their firstborn child. The two groups were largely divided on the basis of sex, with the extreme end of one side wishing death upon all men, and the other side had alpha males taking a break from popping the reddest of pills and topping off Top G to, do a little misogyny. And all of these heated arguments were primarily focused around a single scene in the first episode. I had to see what all the fuss was about, so I checked in. If you're looking for somebody who's gonna mindlessly shit on the show because #woke, you won't find that here. But if you want to take a deeper look into She-Hulk, why just the first 30 minutes of the series has been so polarizing, let's dive into the first episode.
Yeah, when She-Hulk literally was announced, my mom was like, that looks dumb. I agree. They need to stop making characters because oh, they are certain identity or orientation. It's not because I'm saying, oh, you know, it should only be like men or white men doing it. No, I don't think that. I love diversity amongst films. But here's the problem. Don't make a character because they're diverse. I want a character because they are good. You wanna know why Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn works? Is it because she's a female character? No. It's because she actually works hard to earn, like, she earns her fate. What happens? Like, she's literally kicked down to the bottom of society. No, not because she's a woman. It's because she doesn't have a mother. And I'm not going to tell anybody here why she doesn't have a mother, because that's spoilers. I don't want to spoil Horizon. So yeah. And Aloy works hard throughout her years and trains to find the answers, but she keeps coming across problems. Not because of her identity, how she's a female character. It's because of, like, who she is. And it sounds like I said, oh, it's not because of her identity, it's because of her identity. No, it's because she's no, I'm actually not gonna say it. It's a spoiler. I almost just said a spoiler. But she is related to a very important figure of the game, which I will not spoil who it is. And because of that, people want to hunt her down and exterminate her, or use her for the genetic gate that blocks most of the facilities in the game. But the thing is She-Hulk, basically, I don't like, there's this one scene where it literally doubts anything, like, everything that Hulk says, or Dr. Bruce even says. And it kind of hurts, because I never knew this. Apparently in the series, he's literally tried to commit suicide multiple times. Because, what? Like, Bruce's backstory is kind of interesting. I don't know. I cannot wait till 2024, man. I know I just switched topics, but I cannot wait till 2024, man. When Biden goes out of office, and I don't care. I'm not gonna take this statement back. Why did Technoblade have to go get cancer when it should have been Putin, man? Putin's threatening to use tactical nukes, and it's scary because the biggest impedance in my plan is not college, it's not my money, it's quite literally Putin. He is the biggest impedance to my plans of becoming a free American, because I can't become a free American if the America I know is going to be reduced to ash and dust. He needs to be vindicated from his seat in office. I think the faster that the leader of Russia, China, and the leader of the United States, or the government, like both of the governments, all three of those governments, in my opinion, are the reasons why the reason why the world will never be at peace. The United States threatens everybody with their military. Russia threatens to send nukes at your direction if you don't complain. And China will just completely shut you down, their economy, and choke you until you have to actually, like, do what they say. I read a book that says Factimos, the world's getting better. Yeah, 2022, literally like a few years after you wrote the book, like 5 years after you wrote the book, we're threatening to get tac nuked into oblivion, so, yeah, thank you. Really, really nice to know that. It's really great to know that. And I deadass guarantee that, I mean, what's it called? American citizens are fed up with our government. I mean, I'm betting the Russian citizens, they're fed up with theirs. So with China. I think I'm not trying to sound like the people are like, oh, free Earth. I don't want to be that person. But honestly, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? I want everybody to know that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But in my opinion, the governments of the world do not care. And I hate to say this, they don't care about you. You're just a puppet. A tool to make money. That's all you are. You're just a tool used to line their pockets. And it sucks. I hate to say that. I heard a quote today that really interested me. It was from, I don't know, I think it was from like Joe Rogan or Travis Taylor. I don't know who he was. I know they both are kind of like controversial, but this one quote really stood out. No, it's not by Joe Rogan, but it's by this one woman. She said, "You are literally selling your body to the government. It's worse than OnlyFans," and I agree. When you sign up for the military, you're selling your body for the government. You're selling your body and putting that meat bag of a body really on the line to die for something you don't even agree with. And apparently, the military is like the recruiters are 50% on their quota, meaning that they are half. Their quota is only being met by half. So if I can't talk, I stutter because I'm a little spooked. Can we all just I think what should happen is we dismantle all ICBMs and turn them into reactors. All that energy could be used to actually power people's homes in third world countries. Like, tac nukes are just so... They're not even useful, man. The area where you nuke, it's not even habitable. You can't even take it over or extract resources from it. It's just done. I mean, yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki recovered because those were small-scale nukes. Those are kiloton range nukes. Today we have megaton range nukes, meaning that they are thousands of times more powerful than what we've had before. And I really hate to say this, but I think the world is in a darker time than it has ever been in before. Right now. Like, right now, we are in some really deep shit. Like, the economies are pretty much garbage. The governments of the world are threatening to kill each other sometimes. We're threatening civil unrest, man. And I really hate to say it, because, like, this is my generation, man. I'm new to the world. Like, my parents, they've been in the world 4 times longer than I have. They've seen a lot of stuff, and this is me. Like, I've not even gone to college. I don't even have a job that, like a correct job yet. I mean, I have a volunteer job, you know what I mean? Like, I'm relatively new. Like, I have my whole life ahead of me, and I don't want it to be reduced to just, like, dust, man. If I know I might be cocky when I say this, but if I had my way and I could rule the world, I would solve everything. Like, you know, I'd force China, United States, Russia to all reform their governments, exterminate all of Al-Qaeda, restabilize economies. That's what I would do. It's what everybody wants. I mean, it is the unfortunate, like, you know, side effect of everything, you know. I hope the world will get better, even though there's a high chance of it not. Like, can we just not fight each other? Can the human species just shut the hell up for one quick second and just do something that would benefit us for once? We could be like a level 1 civilization right now, maybe even level like 1.5 civilization, if we didn't do all this bitching and fighting. Like, I feel bad for all the people in the world, man. Like, Russians, Chinese people, everyone. We're just fed up with our governments. And sorry if I went on that rant. It's just, I hope that my future doesn't have to be removed. If they had that blue on the outside, I think they're like friendly and stuff. Hello. Oh, my dog's went this time. Well, that's done. Let's go commit the exchange. I'm gonna get a lot more ammonium. I shouldn't have to really explain why if someone here is watching and knows anything about Astroneer. Hey, keep going, bro. Let's start getting more astronium. Oh, I mean, I want. Can you please? Thank you. I'm gonna do the lithium can exchange. Look how much lithium we got. Okay, so I want to have it. I'm probably gonna make at least 60 RTGs. Owie. I could like take the car back, retract it, and then like go. There's Titanic right there. It's not full. It's full. And there we go. That's a full can of lithium. We need that. So much lithium. Woo! That's a lot of lithium. 400 of it. And we still got more to go. It's a really rich lithium mine. That's a lot of lithium indeed. That's a lot of lithium, lot of lithium, lot of lithium. That's a hell of a lot of lithium, lithium. That's a lot of lithium and nanocarbon too. How much is this thing pulled out so far? I don't know, but I'm not joking. 14, not bad. This thing right here, this astronium field looks so pathetic, but I have pulled 800 or ammonium. I pulled 800 ammonium from this field so far, and I'm still going. I'm just gonna keep it right there and pull everything I can out. I'm even thinking about just going finding it, and I'm almost thinking about just going to find a compound field, extracting all the compound, making a ton of medium generator or small generators or like medium printers or something, and then just shredding them, turning to scrap, and then buying things that like lithium and hematite and all that stuff. I don't know. The only like resource we're poor on right now, or highly unable to get, is actually astronium. Well, I should go do that, but I'm actually going to go. Oh, whoops, I forgot I took this off. Okay, so here's my plan. I need to establish somewhat like really good bases on the north poles of every single planet, except for Saiva. Actually, I'll put one on Saiva. Alright, where's my little place? Not there. Right there, found it. There's my jet. Why am I hearing it? But my iPad just lose. Ah. You have got to be kidding me. Oh my god, I am so tired of these invisible barriers that I cannot ever freaking see. They need to actually fix these, man. Get that plant. Yes. Did I touch more city videos and like that? Ten most dangerous countries for Westerners. North Korea, China, Afghanistan. Maybe. China. Syria. Oh boy. Oh my god, there's so much compound. I like how it's like checking out on the right like a bullet. casing. Burkina Faso, Africa. Sudan, yup, this place is awful. This place is awful. Their citizens, what I've heard from, live in such awful conditions. Their government is really bad here. One of the most corrupt in the world. I feel so bad for anybody living in South Sudan or Sudan. Same with Somalia and Ethiopia are probably worse.
Robberies and other violent crimes happen all the time in the streets of South Sudan, when you can find streets. An armed conflict is ongoing, including fighting between various political and ethnic groups. Weapons are readily available to the population. In addition, cattle raids throughout the country often lead to violence. They steal each other's cows, apparently. News reporting in South Sudan without the proper documentation from the South Sudanese Media Authority is considered illegal, and any journalistic report there is very dangerous. Journalists often report being harassed in South Sudan, and many of them have been killed while covering conflicts. So yeah, there's no reason to go here. Number 7, Yemen. Yemen has
another South.
The Yemen Revolution followed other Arab Spring mass protests in early 2011. The uprising was initially against unemployment, economic conditions, and corruption, as well as against government proposals to modify the constitution so that the guy in charge's son could inherit the presidency. No more elections, just give it to your son, which is now in March of 2011, snipers opened fire on a pro-democracy camp, killing more than 50 people. Good times in Yemen. Call your travel agent. Pay your life insurance first. Let's see what the State Department has to say about Yemen. It starts off pretty plainly. Do not travel to Yemen due to terrorism, civil unrest, health risks, kidnapping, armed conflict, and landmines. U.S. Embassy in Sanaa, I think that's how you pronounce it, suspended its operations in February of 2015, and the U.S. government is unable to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Yemen. In other words, you're on your own, everyone. Terrorist groups continue to plot and conduct attacks in Yemen. Terrorists may attack with little or no warning. There it is again. Little or no warning. Why did you say that? And they target wrong sites, transportation hubs, markets, shopping malls, and government facilities. Additionally, there is a continuing threat of kidnapping, detention by terrorists, criminal elements by non-government actors. Employees of Western organizations may be targeted for attack or kidnapping. Military conflict can cause significant destruction to the infrastructure, housing, medical facilities, schools, power, and water utilities. This limits availability of electricity, clean water, and medical care. availability of medicine and medical supplies and adequate medical treatment is unavailable if you get cholera. If you guys haven't picked up on it already, don't go to Yemen. Number 6, Venezuela. The U.S. and Venezuela haven't been on the best of terms for some time now. Just last year, we had friended them on Facebook. On March 11, 2019, the U.S. Department of State announced the withdrawal of all diplomatic personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Caracas. All services, routine and emergency, would be suspended until further notice. Now, here's the warning that the State Department gives about Venezuela. Violent crimes such as homicide, armed robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking are common in Venezuela. Political rallies and demonstrations occur often with little notice. So, like those terrorists, demonstrations typically elicit a strong police and security force response that includes the use of tear gas, pepper spray, water cannons, and rubber bullets against the participants, occasionally devolving into looting and vandalism. There's a shortage of food, electricity, water, medicine, and medical supplies throughout much of Venezuela. The U.S. CDC issued a level 3 warning to avoid non-essential travel to Venezuela. That was in 2018 due to inadequate health care and a breakdown of the medical infrastructure in Venezuela. Venezuela is in bad shape. They have been for some time, and it is getting worse. It's kind of been pushed to the back of the news channels lately because we've got other things going on, but those people are in bad shape. Don't go there. Don't be part of the problem. Number 4.
So you're 45. That's the perfect age to see some old friends.
Great. I'm only 17.
Number 5, Mali. Mali is a landlocked country in Africa that
Yeah,
nobody
Western
knows
Africa.
about. You probably know something about it, but what you know, you probably think isn't real, so you think you don't know anything about it. Have I confused you? Here you go. I'll explain. Mali is home to the ancient city of Timbuktu. Yes, it's real. Timbuktu is like the last city before you hit the Sahara Desert and run the risk of dying of dehydration or heat stroke. So bring sunblock and some Gatorade, and also bring some of that stuff for your lips, because when you're dying of heat stroke or dehydration, your lips are all cracked, and it's just the worst. It's just the worst. Here's the State Department's official warning. Don't go there. Violent crimes such as kidnappings, armed robberies are common in Mali. Violent crime is more of a concern during the local holidays and seasonal around Bamako, the city. Roadblocks and random corrupt police checkpoints are commonplace throughout the country, especially at night. Terrorists and armed groups continue plotting kidnappings and attacks in Mali, like all terrorists do. They may attack with little or no warning, again, like all terrorists do, targeting nightclubs, hotels, restaurants, places of worship, anywhere Westerners are. Due to risks to civil aviation, operations within the vicinity of Mali are restricted by the Federal Aviation Administration. You can't even fly into Mali. Number 4, Iraq. So, I shouldn't have to tell anyone this, but stay out of Iraq. It was actually safer when we were blowing this country out. The State Department's warning goes like this. Do not travel to Iraq due to terrorism, kidnapping, and an armed conflict. U.S. citizens in Iraq are at high risk of violence and kidnapping. Numerous terrorists and insurgent groups are active in Iraq and often attack both Iraqi security forces and civilians. Anti-U.S. militias threaten U.S. citizens and Western companies throughout Iraq. Attacks by improvised explosive devices.
Like, don't go there unless you have the ability to snap someone's neck with your mind, I guess.
December 31st, 2019, the embassy suspended public services until further notice as a result of damage done by an Iranian-backed terrorist attack on the embassy compound. It goes on. U.S. citizens should not travel through Iraq to Syria to engage in the armed conflict there. You would face extreme personal risks such as kidnapping, injury, and death, and legal risks, arrest, fines, and expulsion. The Kurdish regional government stated that it would impose prison sentences of up to 10 years on individuals who illegally cross the border. Additionally, fighting on behalf of or supporting terrorist organizations is a crime that can result in penalties including prison time or fines in the United States. So there's no reason to go to Iraq. Number 3, China. Okay, so everybody knows what's going on with that illness. Now, I can't say the actual name because I'll get demonetized. I agree with this policy because if YouTube didn't, people would be sensationalizing it, using the name, and probably flood YouTube with bad information. So we'll just call it the beer illness. The State Department's official statement is do not travel to China due to the beer illness first being identified in China. On January 30th, the World Health Organization determined that the rapidly spreading outbreak constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. Travelers should be prepared for the possibility of travel restrictions with little or no advance warning. Most commercial air carriers have reduced or suspended routes to and from China. So if you're there, you'll get stuck in a lot of places. So those currently in China should attempt to depart by commercial means. We strongly urge U.S. citizens remaining in China to stay home as much as possible and limit contact with others, including large gatherings. Consider stocking up on food and other supplies to limit movement outside the home. In the event that the situation deteriorates further, the ability of the U.S. Embassy and Consulate to 2, Iran. If you haven't been watching the news since, I don't know, 1970, Iran hates the United States. They hate everything we do, including women driving, women wearing what they want.
Haha, they're mad, they're mad.
Oddly enough, I know an interpreter who said that when he was a boy in the schools in Iran, that they would play these videos on how evil the U.S. was, like old propaganda stuff. He said for some reason, they always showed Americans bowling. And even at a young age, him and his friends always wanted to come to America just to bowl, and they could hardly wait. Anyway, tensions have always been high between the U.S. and Iran, and when we blew up their top general a couple months back, things got worse. Here's the State Department's warning. Do not travel to Iran due to the high risk of kidnapping and arbitrary arrest and detention of U.S. citizens. Those present in Iran should exercise increased caution due to an outbreak of the beer illness. U.S. citizens visiting or residing in Iran have been kidnapped, arrested, and detained on false charges. Iranian authorities continue to unjustly detain and imprison U.S. citizens, often dual national Iranian-American citizens, including students, journalists, business travelers, and academics, on charges including espionage and posing a threat to the national security of Iran. Iranian authorities routinely delay consular access to detained U.S. citizens and consistently deny consular access to dual Iranian U.S. citizens. So yeah, it's just a mess over there. They hate us. They do everything they can to make it difficult. And right now there's all kinds of accusations that they've been helping plan all these different attacks on us. So yeah, stay out of Iran.
North Korea.
Number 1, Haiti. In my
Haiti?
I don't remember anything good coming out of Haiti. The recent Haitian government seems to have completely lost control of the entire island. Besides the people being out of control, they've had serious earthquakes and hurricanes over the years that have just destroyed
No kidding.
the island. Now here's the State Department's thing. Do not travel to Haiti due to crime, civil unrest, and kidnappings. Violent crimes such as armed robbery and carjacking are common in Haiti. Kidnapping is widespread. Kidnappers may use sophisticated planning or take advantage of unplanned opportunities. Victims include U.S. citizens. Demonstrations, tire burn, and roadblocks are frequent and unpredictable and can turn violent. Local police may lack the resources to respond effectively to serious criminal incidents. Emergency response, including ambulance service, is limited or non-existent. Travelers are sometimes followed and violently attacked and robbed shortly after leaving the international airport. The U.S. Embassy requires its personnel to use official transportation to and from the airport. Robbers and carjackers have attacked private vehicles stuck in heavy traffic congestion and often target lone drivers. Often, women drive alone. Alright, so that's my video of places you don't need to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay away from these places. If any of you had any plans of going to any of these places, just scratch them off your
Top 10
list.
worst states to move to. California, Louisiana, Illinois, maybe Ohio, Mississippi.
Who hates mountains? Legend has it they drove cross country just to walk with their dog. That's what they say.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs and a video about states you don't want to move to in 2022. A couple weeks ago, we did some videos about the best states to move to or live in 2022. Those videos weren't based on any one stat or group of stats. It was our opinion based on what we learned over the last few years of researching videos. Today, we're looking at the other side of that coin, the states you don't want to move to in 2022. If you watched our video about the cheapest states to move to a couple weeks back, you'll find a lot of these states are on both lists. The reason for that, of course, is that if the place sort of sucks, nobody wants to live there. And if nobody wants to live there,
Yeah, if there's like a house, like what, less than like,
but you'll find a couple
I don't know, I can't even tell you, I don't know. Cheap equals sucks, I guess.
If you're moving someplace in 2022, you don't plan on just staying there for 2022. Hopefully, and most likely, you're going to be staying there 5, 10 years or the rest of your life. Alright, let's take a look. Number 10, Texas. Yeah, you heard me right, I said Texas. On a lot of videos, I've said what a great state Texas is, and it is. There's a lot of people moving there because it's a great state. The taxes aren't killing people, the home prices have been reasonable, they don't have a ton of crime compared to other states. Texas is a great place to live right now. I don't know how much longer that's going to be.
'Cause of the
They'll
emic-
be a victim of their own success, much like Oregon and California have been in the past. As people start moving into the place, it's going to get more expensive. They also have a lot of political issues going on right now that, you know, half of the population think is great.
Like
The other
abortion.
half aren't cool with what's going on in the state. Now, this
I think
happens
abortion's
in
really
every
hot
single
in
state in the U- I mean, every
in
country.
Texas. Like it's a really hot
Please
discussion
everybody. But I think in Texas, it's a little amplified, and it's going to get more and
because
more
it's Republican.
amplified. I have a lot of friends that have moved to Texas, Army friends, and even friends I went to high school with in California. They've moved to Texas in the last 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. A lot of them are saying Texas is changing, and they're not digging it. And it's not just them. A lot of native-born Texans don't really like what's going on either. Not the political part, the influx of people and how their state is changing.
Probably because of the immigration or the immigration
If you do look at the stats,
situation.
where they rank when it comes to crime, they're ranked 33rd in the nation, which isn't terrible. Healthcare, they're ranked in the 40s, which is terrible. And their schools are ranked 33rd in the nation. The big saving grace for them right now, their economy, they're 15th best in the nation. So to be clear, Texas is great now. I just don't think it's going to maintain its greatness for much longer. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, it's a great state. Number 9, Oklahoma. When you look at Oklahoma, they have a truckload of problems. They have some good things too. Their people are great. Love the people
Tornadoes.
of Oklahoma. They're always decent, friendly, and welcoming. That's been my experience. You got a different experience? Sorry. One of the biggest problems in Oklahoma is the healthcare system. They're always ranked towards the bottom. I saw one report where they're ranked 47th in the nation. I saw another one where they're ranked 48th. So they're always towards the bottom, which really sucks because a lot of retirees and senior citizens live there. And if you don't know, as you get older, you're going to need good health care. When you look at their economy, it's not doing great either. They have a lot of jobs, but they don't have a lot of good paying jobs. When you don't have a lot of good paying jobs, this of course leads to more poverty and more crime. When people don't have money, they start committing crimes. Oklahoma's ranked 41st when it comes to crime. 90% of that crime is obviously going to be found in the bigger cities. Their smaller towns are decent places to live. One saving grace is Oklahoma does have a lower cost of living. So, I mean, if you're bringing a job, it might be a great option. But I think Oklahoma's bad outweighs its good right now. Number 8, Kentucky. Kentucky always seems to be a medalist when it comes to the poverty Olympics. Kentucky has never been considered a really good state to move to when it comes to employment, unless of course you make whiskey or you coach basketball teams. They've always had a poverty level that's well above the national average. They've had serious opioid and drug addiction problems throughout the state since forever, and their health care is normally towards the bottom of the barrel as well. They do have one positive that I find strange because they're one of the leaders in the whole opioid crisis and every other drug you can imagine, which is a crime, and there's a lot of problems that come with it. Kentucky has sort of a low crime rate compared to other states, which is good, but still their economy and their schools are always in the top 10 when it comes to the worst. This is another state that the jobs they do have tend to be on the low paying side, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So yeah, I went and moved there in 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, I don't know, all the way up to maybe 2044. Maybe they'll turn it around by then. Number 7, Arkansas. We've talked about the phenomenon that is the northwest corner of Arkansas many times. If they could just spread some of that to the rest of the state, it would be great. I say Arkansas is not a good place to move, but 3/4 of it isn't a good place to move. 2 cities that are considered by most to be the worst cities in the United States are Pine Bluff and Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas has been this way since forever, and they don't show any signs of changing their ways. Number 6, Alaska.
I can see it because you're so secluded and the natural gas prices here are awful.
Past how beautiful landscape is, then forget everything I'm about to say because it really won't affect you. Alaska is one of the most beautiful states we have. Downside is they don't have a lot of jobs. They have a lot of drug issues. They have a ton of poverty. They're one of our states that have been Alaska has gained double digits on their population. Started off in 1940 with a 22% increase, and then in 1950, 77, 1960 census, it was 75, and then it stayed in the 30s for quite some time. This 2020 census, they only gained 3%. With the last couple of years, like 18, 19, they'd actually lost population. And in the coming years, I'm sure that's going to continue. They'll just keep losing population. But Alaska just doesn't great state if you love the outdoors and you're, let's say, retired and have checks coming in the mail. You don't have to worry about getting a job. It's a great state to live in. But the problems they do have, I don't see changing over the next decade or so. So it's definitely not a good place you want to move to in 2022 unless you fit the criteria of not needing a job and you love the outdoors. Number 5, West Virginia. This one breaks my heart. I have some really good friends in West Virginia, but I know they know the situation that's going on in West Virginia. West Virginia has a buttload of problems, including loss of their coal industry, the opioid crisis, people flooding out of there like it's on fire, their infrastructure is falling apart, but they have gotten better. They're just not where they need to be to make them a very desirable place to live. They are sort of like Alaska, though. They're a great place to be if you like to be outdoors and you're not really relying on getting a good job when you move to that state. I've said a couple times in recent videos that I think West Virginia's future is in tourism. I mean, they have amazing landscapes and things to do out in the wilderness. Every time I look on the news or something, they're talking about bringing coal mining jobs back to West Virginia. I don't think it's a thing. I don't think it'll ever happen. Coal powered this country for a lot of years, but most places have moved past coal. Am I saying they should just shut down all the coal mines? No, there's still a need for it. Nothing like it was 10, 20, 30 years ago, but they still need coal. Past its natural beauty, West Virginia has 3 positives that are undeniable. The people are amazing, the low cost of living, and the low cost of housing. Just don't consider moving there if you need a job and you don't already have one lined up. Number 4, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mississippi's on the list again for suckage. You know why you shouldn't move to Mississippi? It's Mississippi. Mississippi has been on a downward slide since, I don't know, the Civil War. Like, what's come out of there that's been good in the last 200 years? Elvis? To be fair to Mississippi, the dollar sign and the padded toilet seat were both invented in the Magnolia State. If you do move to Mississippi, you will find a lot of really cool things. Low cost of living, low housing.
I guess they had to have some place for inspiration for that toilet seat.
The non-day drinkers, they're pretty friendly too. But epidemic level poverty is what really brings Mississippi down, and it shows no sign of letting up. That's why I wouldn't move there in 2022, or I don't know, again, like that other state, maybe in 2044. If you look at where Mississippi ranks compared to other states, they're the absolute worst when it comes to healthcare. The state's economy is 3rd from the bottom, and their school system usually ranks in the 40s as well. But their universities are pretty good. I'm just talking like high school on down.
Anyway, what's number 3?
The state's economy is 3rd from the bottom, and their school system usually ranks in the 40s as well. But their universities are pretty good. I'm just talking like high school on down. Number 3, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Enchantment is another frequent customer when it comes to suckage videos. If you do just look at the standard stats and rankings for New Mexico, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. When it comes to crime, they're the 2nd worst in the nation, ranked 49th along with education, 49th. And when it comes to their economy, they're 47th. Their healthcare isn't even setting any records. They're number 34 when it comes to healthcare. And they've been this way for a very long time, and they show no signs of changing it either. New Mexico's another state that's been in double digits every single census or growth until 2020, where they got 2.8% growth, compared to past years where it was 13%, 20%, 16%, 28%, 25%, 67% at one point. Now they're down to 2.8%. When you don't have a lot of options for people, they start leaving the state, and the amount of people moving in slows down to a trickle, like New Mexico. A couple of years ago, I did a video on New Mexico and how bad it was. It was the top 10 reasons not to move there, and a local news station contacted me and wanted to put it on the news one night. They did, and what was incredible about it was they tried to dispute it, but they kind of agreed with everything I said. They kind of took up the attitude of, well, we're working on it. I brought up this little piece of trivia about New Mexico in a recent video, but it's a good way to explain the current situation this state is in. Approximately 75% of the roads in New Mexico are unpaved. The reason
Wow.
for that is they have a lot of open space with nothing going on in those open spaces. two? I don't think so. Number 2, Alabama.
Alabama?
Don't know much about Alabama. Looking at the stats on this one are kind of important. It kind of tells you what's going on in the state. When it comes to crime, Alabama is ranked 45th in the nation.
Sheesh.
When it comes to their economy, they're ranked 45th in the nation. When it comes to their healthcare, they're ranked 45th in the nation. When it comes to their schools, they're ranked 50th. They're the absolute worst schools in
Wow.
the nation. If you're really not sure how all that works, look at it this way. Number 1 is good, number 50 sucks. And between 45 and 50, there's not much of a difference. Alabama, like all southern states, is filled to the brim with decent people. In my opinion, I just think the decisions and the moves that their government makes, the state government, is what really has been screwing Alabama since the creation of the United States. Again, though, I don't see anything changing in Alabama in the next couple decades. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel on this day. There's a link down below. All right, on to number 1. And number
Louisiana.
1, Louisiana. That's right, the Pelican State made it to the number 1 spot. They share the same problems Alabama, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Kentucky have, and most of those things aren't good. Louisiana has 2 of the most violent cities in the United States, New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Along with that, you've got Shreveport, which is horrible, and then dozens of small towns that have poverty rates that can be best described as criminal. Not for the people, but for their state government. Louisiana is often brought up in the conversation when you're talking about the most corrupt state governments. They've had so many people go to jail for all sorts of political shenanigans. So where does Louisiana rank compared to other states? Well, overall, they're ranked number 50th. Their crime, 50th. Economy, 49th. Healthcare is 45th. And their schools are ranked 48th. This is another state that's been like this forever, and they show no signs of changing how they're going to do things. I mean, Mississippi always used to be the bottom of the barrel, but Mississippi, even though it's not great, has gotten a little bit better and moved past places like Louisiana and Alabama. The main reason is their crime's gotten better. I mean, outside Jackson, Mississippi, the crime rate throughout Mississippi has gotten a lot lower, where in Louisiana and worse. I mean, when Mississippi starts showing you how you should do things, you've got some problems.
Alright.
All right, everyone, that's today's
There he
video.
is.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you
so many people. Oh wait, sorry, I was talking to my mom. So apparently what happened is a bunch of people in my class got accused of cheating. And I hope to God I'm not accused because I don't cheat. I don't really like doing English class, but I ain't gonna stoop to a low level that's low enough to cheat. Like now I'm nervous because I don't want to be bussed for this. There's two sides of me right now to it. One, they shouldn't have cheated, and there's two, like, how boring is what we're learning have to be in order to actually, like, incite cheating. I've never heard anybody from my class cheat, and yet here it goes. It just happened. I never heard of this. And now it's a shit show. Like, everybody's being accused or something. Not everybody. There's a lot of people being accused of cheating. I don't know who's cheating, and if I did, I will not leak their names, because I don't benefit anything from that. But we're reading a book called The Importance of Being Earnest. Now, to many this is a recital play, but to my class this was boring, including me. If you do not know, I have been fed up with English for a lot. The teachers I get for English are insanely nice. I really like them. I think they need to get paid more for the bullshit they go through, honestly. My teacher in this class, I will not name them, but they're pretty nice. Like, they have so much generosity, and they honestly deserve to be more at home with their families than to be doing this job. I won't disrespect English teachers, honestly. I'm not gonna be the douchebag, be like, oh, you do English, you stupid loser. Honestly, here's the thing, I actually commend you. You're doing something that I couldn't do. I could not be an English teacher, like, honestly. I would almost rather be, like, I'd rather be a coal miner than a chemistry teacher. Or English, Jesus, I cannot talk. No shame to the job, though. You're doing something that a lot of people don't really like doing. So, yeah, there's... But, I've literally said something, I've said out loud right now to my mom, I'm like, I have two sides. I'm like, yeah, they shouldn't cheat, but here's a question. Has the education system gotten so bad, finally so bad, that people are cheating? I mean, yeah, to be honest, I don't think really anything incites cheating. But, like, nobody cares about it. Here's the problem. Is that when you try to force something down somebody's throat that doesn't care, for example, let's say I try to force veganism down your throat, okay? I say, there's 2 points you can do. You can go ask them. You can be like, oh, hey, look, vegan. And you'd be like, oh, no, okay. But if I keep saying, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, you're going to be annoyed of that. You're going to be annoyed. You're going to want me to go away. And if you are listening, you're probably seeing where the problem is. It shoves English down your throat so damn much that basically it's just one of the most hated classes, what I've seen. The thing is, I suck complete garbage at trigonometry, but computer technology requires so much math. Even when I sucked at trigonometry, and I wanted out of that class every single day. No offense to the teacher was absolutely amazing. He was so great. Thanks, Mr. Blank. You know who you are. You're amazing. We're such friends, and we had so many memes in that class. It was so fun to learn from that dude. But I'd rather go back and learn trigonometry. I'd almost rather take 2 more years. I'd rather take an extra school year of high school than finish my freaking English class, because nothing I'm gonna do is going to need it. Hell, if you ask me what the hell like a colon is, or like any like I don't even know what a verb is that much. I don't even know. Oh, and you want to know something really funny? Did you know that there's a lot of scientific data pointing towards people diagnosed with autism going towards the science field and struggling in the English field? Now, most people would say, oh, you need to go in the English field. Here's a problem. I do not learn that good in English. I have to have modded tests. If you know what modded tests are, they're unique tests. They don't give me the answer, but like instead of like 4 answers to choose from, they'd give me something like 3 answers. Honestly, like, what's it called? Here's my proof. Like I can barely come up with anything on English class, but literally on a test I did a few days ago, I literally like what's it called? An answer that like required like what, a sentence to be done. I wrote a whole ass paragraph about like biology. And remember, I'm a chemist, dude. I barely do biology, and I'm doing better at biology than I am in English. Like I like what's it called? There's thousands of people, millions of people that could teach me that are like way smarter than me in the field of biology, way smarter. Oh, outrage! Don't doubt yourself. No, like I'm not a biologist, not yet at least. The reason I take biology is because even though I'm not gonna go into it, I love science and I want to be smart, and I am smart. I just can't do English. And another thing is, I'm so glad we're not doing a civil units test or civil units anymore. I'm kind of getting like fed up with that. Ooh, you're racist. No, I'm not. Listen, have you not heard me say I accept anybody from all walks of life, colors, orientations, and identities? I have said multiple times, I do not care what you identify as. I do not care what you do, as long as you're not an awful person. Then we can be friends. Like, as long as you're not like a toxic, rude individual who's bigoted and all that stuff, I can be friends with you. Like, I don't care. I love being friends with anybody I can be friends with. I'm a people person, my friend. Even though I'm slightly introverted. You know what I mean? But like, I accept everybody now. Like, I've just grown to accept people. I'm probably one of the most accepting people in my school, to be honest with you. In my opinion, the biggest weakness of the educational system is that it does not, at all, like, it does not take advantage of what you want to learn. In my opinion, I'm not trying to be like that one person, but my own school is probably the best, or one of the best schools in my area, because at least it's one of the few schools that have hands-down learning. I know I just went off topic there, I'm sorry, but like, seriously, hands-on learning schools need to be brought back. Hands-on learning is the most superior way, because if you're doing it yourself, like for example, you want to know how fast I learned how to angle grind for welding? Like what, 2 minutes? Because my dad taught me how to use it. He taught me how to grind areas to weld them, and I learned, and I can do it now. And I know that's not a really hard thing to learn, but still, I will say, like, schools need to know the value of hands-on learning. It is the best learning experience that they can provide. The more people we have doing hands-on learning, the better of a social structure and infrastructure we have. Like, I mean, no offense. There's marble there, oh my god. I don't really mean any offense to people that, you know, that teach English. I love you guys. You are absolutely amazing. It's just I don't like the field. And you know what? I accept that there's people that don't like chemistry. I do not shame upon that. There are people that loathe chemistry. There are people in my class that do not like chemistry. They hate chemistry. And even though I'm a chemistry geek and I don't like people shaming on chemistry, I get them. Because they're probably going to go into a job that does not require chemistry. There's not a whole lot of jobs that do need chemistry. Like, I get it. But the thing I anger most about is that you have to take classes that you're not even interested in. And I get it. I think all classes should be taught up until like 8th grade. In high school, you should choose what you need to do. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if it's in the United States, but I know it's 100% Illinois. You have to have 2 years of science. You have to 3 years of social studies, 4 years of English in like 2 years. And then 3 years of math, 3 years of social studies / history, 4 years of English, and 2 years of science. So, that, hey, scientists, you wonder why the United States is not that scientific as other countries? Yeah, now you know why. If you're angry about what I just said, well, you have every right in your mind to be angry. Now, I'm sorry for ranting on about all that stuff, but seriously, I am sick and tired. We need to actually, step up and change our system. It does not benefit anybody. It does not, like, help anyone. I honestly, like, the other thing that really makes me infuriated is that I'm not jealous of other countries, but other countries have do not have as much resources as the United States, yet they are better at educating people. That's embarrassing. We're like the country that's supposed to be that one where everybody looks up to, yet we completely suck at our job. Like, bruh, our education system is so bad. People lose faith in it. It's just sad. I think the educational system is absolutely awful. It shouldn't be destroyed, but it needs to change. Because if it's just built to pump people out. It's built to pump people out just to work in factories. And no, it's not like a Facebook conspiracy theory. That's an actual thing. They made the education system to make as many people that are just mentally wired for jobs like that. Think about it. Why else do you never talk until you're spoken to? You sit in neatly aligned rows. You're taught extreme obedience, and you're taught that any idea that you have will never be accepted. Just look at it. And plus you have separate times for working, and separate times for eating your lunch, and to top it off, you do not have school on Saturday or Sunday. Most jobs do not have work process hours at Saturday or Sunday. It literally mimics jobs. And I get how we're supposed to mimic jobs, so like, that's alien almost. That's creepy. It's just straight up dystopian, man. And it must change. Ugh. I gotta find some, no plans. Let's see. That's in poorest state. Yeah. Political crazies. 10 states have the most political crazies. Illinois. Illinois got some stupid government system structure.
Do you avoid people that live and breathe politics? If you said yes, you shouldn't move to any of the states on this list. Welcome back to World According to Briggs and a video about the most politically engaged states. Now, first of all, before we get into this list, I promise you, by the end, you'll be surprised at some of them. A couple weeks back, we did a video about the least politically active states. Today, we're doing the other side of that coin. As we learned in our video probably about a month and a half ago, What's Destroying the United States video, most people think politics is killing this country, or specifically, the political zealots. They can't quit talking about politics. They think if you don't vote the same way they do, you're obviously insane or you hate the country. Look at any video on YouTube about almost anything, and you'll see someone in the comments section blaming a party for something like it's a cupcake channel and they're blaming people on the price of frosting or something. I'm not saying being politically engaged, active, or just aware is bad. When you start hating people and getting angry at someone because they vote differently than you, that's a problem.
It is. I know I hate, like, people, I kind of hate, like, I might say, like, oh, if you voted, like, Democrat, you're bad. What I mean, like, I don't really like people, like, that, like, constantly, like, shun people, man. I don't like Biden, not because he's a Democrat, because he's awful. I just don't like, I hate politics. Even though I talk politics, I just...
One thing I want to say about the last video, I said Virginia was the highest. It's not actually the highest. I was talking about the turnout rate between the 18 and 24-year-olds and the 64 and above. I was going over that video for this video, and I made it sound like I was saying that Virginia has the highest turnout. That's not what I'm saying. Anyway, all right, let's see which states do have the highest turnout rate and the highest politically active population. Number 10, Ohio. Ohio always has a good turnout rate. This is a swing state. If you don't know what that is, it's a state that really can't be counted on by either party. Now this changes over the decades, but for the most part, Ohio's usually a swing state. No matter who wins, it's usually pretty close in Ohio. From 2004 to 2012, they're pretty much nail-biters, and they get a solid turnout every single time. In the 2020 election, Ohio had 8.7 million eligible voters in their population, and of those, 6.7 actually showed up at the polls, giving them a 77.04% voter turnout. And if you look at two of the most sought-after age demographics, the 18 to 24-year-olds, about 40.1% of their population at that age showed up, and the 64 and over, 74% of them showed up. Now, the 18 to 24-year-olds, that dropped a little bit. In past elections, it was about 45 to 46%. The 64 and over, that always is like right around 75% now. When polled, voters said their biggest things they vote for, healthcare and jobs in Ohio. Number 9, North Dakota. Now, some states, like North Dakota, really don't have that much pull when it comes to election year. That's because they don't have a lot of people. They only have 3 electoral votes, which Ohio, that we just spoke about, they get 18 votes. But North Dakota has a pretty good turnout rate. 77.16% of their population shows up. The 18 to 24-year-olds, about 37% of them show up. The 64
That guy can hear dumping on the other side of my factory place, whatever.
Concerns and why they vote are the economy and welfare. And when it's welfare, it could be either way: welfare reform, or they want more welfare. It's just welfare in general. Number 8, Maine. The Caribou State has an older population, and they show up at the polls. And if you are typing out your comment about the Caribou State, I know it's the Pine Tree State. I just like to call it the Caribou State for some reason. There's a lot of different reasons people show up at the polls at Maine, but mostly it's their age bracket. I mean, when you get a little bit older, you start caring about politics a little bit more, and you start voting more. At least that's what statistics show us. I also think Maine gets good turnout because elections are normally in November, and if you're in Maine, it's usually covered in snow around November. What else is there to do? You might as well go vote. Put a parka on, put some snowshoes on, and head out to the polls. If you ever go to Maine during the winter, you'd think that global warming is their issue, not to stop global warming. They'd like to speed it up a little bit. 77.4% of Maine showed up at the polls in the 2020 election. Of that, 18 to 24-year-olds, only 49.9% of them showed up. The 64 and older crowd, 82% of those people showed up. Now, Maine has 4 electoral college votes. They're one of the only states that actually split there. So if in the 2020 election, 3 went for Biden and 1 went for Trump. Personal opinion, I think that's how all states should be. I mean, like Oregon, they got 7 electoral college votes, and half the state, the eastern part, they, I'm sure, would have gone Republican. Same goes for California, Washington, and just about every other state. In 2020, Maine had just over 1 million registered voters, and of them, 832,000 showed up to the polls. Their biggest concerns are healthcare, which is normally a thing when you have an older population. Also, government spending. Number 7, Montana. Montana has a pretty good turnout rate, and a lot of that has to do with they're not a very populous state. Not a lot of people living here. But these people are very into state rights, the Second Amendment. Those are 2 of their biggest concerns when they go to the polls. 77.5% of their population showed up at the polls in the 2020 election. They had about 827,000 registered voters, and about 640,000 showed up to vote. Not bad. Of the 18 to 24-year-old crowd, 33% of them showed up, while 64 and up crowd, about 78.1. Again, the older population likes to get out and vote. They're another state that only has 3 electoral college votes because they don't have a big population. In case you're wondering, that changes, and that's why the census is so important. When a state starts losing population and another one gains it, they start giving it more electoral college votes, and it's a whole big process I'm not going to get into, but that's why the census, one of the reasons at least, why the census is so important. Number 6, New Hampshire. The Granite State comes in at number 6, and they like to go to the polls. Again, not a very populated state, but they are a swing state. They go back and forth. This last time, they were all on board with the Democrats. They picked up 4 electoral votes here. In recent years, they've had a little shift. They've kind of had a little bit lower of the older population getting out. In past elections, it was like 77 and 78%. This last one, the 64 and older, it was 73.2% got out and voted. The 18 to 24-year-olds, that's up. That went up to 41%. In the 2016 election, it was 36%. So that's a little bit of a shift there. I read a political blog not too long ago, and the guy was talking about how New Hampshire, there's a lot of friction building on where the state is leaning these days, and it's starting to affect citizens, and they're getting a little at each other's throat. At least this was
Oh boy.
Same thing's going on in Arizona. Things are shifting there. The younger people are voting more, and more of the first-time registered voters at like 18 are going blue, as in Democrats. But 78.2% of New Hampshire residents got out and voted in the 2020 election. Their biggest concern, state rights and health care. And they have 4 electoral college votes.
Oh.
Science proves your best sleep is vital to your mental.
Whoa, I didn't do that. I'm gonna tell you next. Every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes in the United States.
Things going on in Arizona. Things are shifting there. The younger people are voting more, and more of the first-time registered voters at like 18 are going blue, as in Democrats. But 78.2% of New Hampshire residents got out and voted in the 2020 election. Their biggest concern, state rights and health care. And they have 4 electoral college votes. Number 5, Maryland. That's right, the first state likes to get out and vote. First thing I should tell you is that the fine state, or Little America they've been known as, but their official nickname is the Free State. And in the Free State, you're free to get out and vote. These people do. 78.62% of their population got out and voted in the 2020 election. Maryland has a good amount of electoral area, but population, they're 18. They have a ton of people living in this state. Actually, they have a total of 6.1 million residents. Almost 6.2. You have Baltimore here, and you also have the D.C. metro area. Now, Washington, D.C. is actually the District of Columbia. It's its own thing, but all the surrounding, College Park, Bethesda, Silver Springs, Chevy Chase, Maryland, all that metro area is part of Maryland. Maybe being so close to the nation's capital is what gets them so politically involved. Whatever the reason, they are.
Freeze warning. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Of the 18 to 24-year-old is 54.1%. That's one of the highest. And of the 64 and older, 68%. That's actually one of the lowest. Like a youth movement going on in the Free State. Maryland has 10 electoral college votes. A lot of people there, like I said. Number 4, Oregon. The Beaver State likes to vote, because it's really easy here to vote. It's all done by mail. There's no polling booths or anything like that. You don't have to go someplace to vote. You just send it in.
That sounds definitely not flawed.
They've done investigation after investigation. They may be one of a couple people that voted for like a dead relative or something like that every single year, but nothing major, ever. It's one of the safest election systems in the country. 79.8% of Oregon's population got out and voted in the 2020 election. Of that population, the 18 to 24-year-olds, that was 48.8% of them, and the 64 and above, 75% of them showed up at the polls or sent their paper in from their house. But Oregon is a perfect example of why we need to split our electoral vote, because honestly, just my opinion, I have no real hard facts, just kind of what I know about the state. I would say in this last election, 5 would have gone to Democrats and Republicans would have picked up 2, because the eastern side of the state is very much conservative Republican. They don't have that many people out there. They don't get any electoral votes. One interesting thing about Oregon and liberal and conservative, everyone seems to think that being such a liberal state, nobody in this state has guns. No, one of their biggest political concerns is the Second Amendment. Oregon, the whole state, not just the conservative side, they love their guns. They're one of the most gun-friendly states in the union, along with Vermont. Like, the pinnacle of liberalism is one of the most gun-toting states we got, too. Number 3, Mississippi. These people like to get out and vote. Now, the state's pretty much a mess in most cases, but I do think lately, in the last couple of years, it is a great place for remote workers. It is dirt cheap. almost everywhere you go in Mississippi, you can find cheap rent, cheap housing, low cost of living, anything you want. If you're bringing a job with you, why not? As more and more small towns get internet, it's a great option. But 88% of the people living there right now like to go to the polls. 18 to 24-year-olds, about 46% of them showed up, and the 64 and over crowd, 77% showed up. Now, the largest gain they've gotten in recent decades is the 18 to 24-year-olds. In the late 90s, early 2000s, they had some election cycles where it was like in the low 30s, high 20s for the 18 to 24-year-old turnout. With so many people voting, how's the state in that bad a shape? Shouldn't they all get together and just start voting for better politicians? Look at any mayor in any one of the cities in that state, and they'll be all, I don't know what's going on up at the state. That's how they all seem to feel about the state government in Mississippi, and it's sucked since the Civil War. Before that. But Mississippi has 6 electoral college votes, and I don't care if they split them or not, I'm sure all 6 would go to the Republicans every single cycle, at least for the foreseeable future. Their biggest concerns are state rights, employment, and poverty, which should be a concern in Mississippi because they got a lot of it. Number 2, Minnesota. This one blew me away. I had no idea they even cared about politics in Minnesota, but apparently they do because they get out and vote. It's another cold state, so you know they love politics that they're getting out to vote in this state. A lot of Minnesotans vote by mail. This is one of those states that there's no excuse required. If you want a mail-in ballot, you just have to request it and give it to you. That's unlike Oregon, where it's just 100% mail-in. But every single election, Minnesotans head to the polls. 82.96% showed up in the 2020 election. Of that,
We're gonna get a lot of organic, which is why I submitted that I can. Visania has such a, you know, high amount of vegetation.
Now, one thing I found interesting about this whole type of video and the research I was doing, they always list the different things that people are concerned with. One of the things we all keep hearing that everyone's concerned with election integrity. Everyone wants to be concerned about the election. Less than 3% listed that as something they're concerned with. And politicians keep telling us we're worried about election integrity. Over 90% of the country has bigger worries than the election integrity issue that they keep talking about. Minnesota has 10 electoral college votes. Alright, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called Growing This Day. There's a link down below. We'd love it if you went over and subscribed, watch a few videos, leave me a couple comments. Alright, on to number 1. And number 1, New Jersey. Mind blown. I didn't think they cared about politics in New Jersey. New Jersey isn't a swing state. Nobody's really concerned with what's going on in New Jersey. I mean, it's a state that does have 14 electoral college votes, so, I mean, that's a concern if you're a politician, I guess, running for the presidency. Now, this is interesting when you break it down to the age demographics, because not a lot of older folks and a good amount of younger folks show up, but nothing record-setting. It's that middle area, above 24 and below 64, that they actually get out and vote more than most any other state, because when it comes to the 18 to 24,
I can tell this might be an annoying place.
7% got out and voted in the 2020 election, and the 64 and over, 68% got out and voted. The only one that's equal to that is Maryland on this list. That's a low number for that age bracket. In New Jersey, they care about health care, jobs, and education. Alright, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Go out, have a great day.
It's about creating spaces for one to be their whole self. Yeah, I gotta make it out. Black Americans created.
Top 10 states with the corrupt congressman. Now this one has to have Illinois.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs. Are you sick of politicians? I am. I'm also really done with people doing things that get themselves indicted to. Almost everything is when an elected official involved in bribery, fraud, or some other form of corruption. Normally, the higher up the official, the higher chance they have of walking or just getting a slap on the wrist and a little light jail sentence. In past videos, we talked about corrupt states, cities, and mayors.
I like watching all the stuff get ejected to the right.
Sent corrupt people to Congress. I could do 3 videos just on convictions since 2000. I could probably do a month worth if I went all the way back to the beginning of the country. We are only doing people that were convicted in this video. Please don't comment about how I feel someone that's never been convicted, or how strongly you feel about conspiracy. And we don't need Facebook groups that detail all their dirty deeds. If we're going to talk about corrupt lawmakers, we should probably start with
Jimmy Pritzker?
number 10, New York Representative 20 counts involving tax fraud in connection with Manhattan restaurant video.
I love when the government commits tax.
I guess he thinks memory, because a little over a year after getting out of prison, he ran again. On October 1st, 2017, Fred launched a campaign to get back to the House in New York 11. As a result, on June 26, 2018, he lost the Republican primary and he had
Biomass we're getting.
for a failed campaign to be mayor in 2007. Now the loan was paid back using federal grant money.
There is so much biomass on this planet. It is.
So apparently he needed $1 million more than the cause the money was intended for. Chaka Pata is in the hand of the people. I guess all those non-profit groups and charities, you know, they could do without the $1 million. Pata needed it. The congressman was indicted in 2015 on charges of racketeering and taking an illegal $1 million campaign loan. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Number 8, Arizona. The Grand Canyon State sent Rick Renzi to Congress in 2003, and on February 22, 2008, a federal grand jury in Arizona handed up a 35-count indictment charging Renzi with conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, insurance fraud, corruption, and influence peddling, a scam involving a federal land exchange that included property in Arizona. He was convicted in 2013 on 17 felonies and served 3 years in prison.
17 felonies.
Then he finally asked for a pardon from President Trump, and I think they lost his pardon request in the mail because nothing ever happened with it. In the end, he served all his time and got out of jail in January of 2017. He was in office, and no word on if he's going to try to run again. Number 7. Sunshine State sent Corey Brown to Congress. Corey Brown is a former politician and current inmate who served as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Florida from 1993 to 2017. So she'd been there a while, and I'm sure she had a good grasp of all the rules. The congresswoman was indicted in 2016 on fraud and conspiracy charges tied to allegations that she and 2 associates solicited donations for education scholarships from minority students and then diverted most of the funds to their own accounts. She was convicted in 2015 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Corey Brown lost her appeal on January 10th of this year. She's still in the big house and looks like she'll get the full ride. Number 6, Louisiana. The Pelican State sent William Jefferson to Congress in 1991. Like so many others, I'm sure he saw the memo about not taking envelopes of cash from people he really didn't know well. The congressman was indicted in 2007 on charges of accepting about $500,000 in bribes, $90,000 which was hidden in a freezer in his home. That wasn't until the FBI found it. He was convicted and sentenced to 13 years in prison. On November 13, 2009, Jefferson was given bad news that he had reservation in the federal prison for bribery and corruption. He is a record holder. He got the longest sentence ever given to a congressman at 13 years. Yeah, he began serving finally after some appeals in May of 2012 at the federal prison in Beaumont, Texas. At least he got out of Louisiana. I think they still got chain gangs there. Yeah, they're back to the prison system from everything I've read. Number 5, Texas. The Lone Star State sent Steve Stockman, a tongue twister, to Congress twice in 2 different districts. Steve Stockman served as a U.S. representative for Texas's 9th congressional district from 1995 to 1997, and for the 36th congressional district from 2013 to 2015. Now, my favorite story about this dude is a story of human.
Oh, I would say, why is there so many sites here? I'm like, oh, this is actually the site where you, I found Matt.
A congressional cruise on the Houston Shipping Channel as a fundraising opportunity. No members of Congress attended. He was like there alone with his supporters and nobody else. He wasn't very popular. A Democrat actually defeated him 56% to 44. That's kind of hard to do in Texas. Stockman ran in the Republican primary for the United States Senate in 2014, but lost to incumbent John Cornyn. Losing to Cornyn would seem like a good time if he knew what was going to happen next. On March of 2017, Stockman was arrested for using contributions meant for charity to fund his campaign and, of course, his personal use.
What a
November
jerk.
7th, 2018, he was sentenced to serve 10 years in prison and ordered to pay over $1 million. And then that was followed by 3 years. Stockman state sent Frank Balance to Congress after he had been a member of the North Carolina State Senate for almost 15 years. He's an attorney. You know, the guy's been kind of school for about what a. On September 2nd, 2004, Balance was indicted on federal charges including money laundering, mail fraud, and conspiracy to commit mail fraud. The charges arose after allegations were made that Balance used $1.3 million in state funds he secured as a state senator for the John A. Hyman Memorial Youth Foundation, and he used the cash to enrich himself, his family, and his church. At least he was giving money to the church, you know. He can't be all that bad, right? Anyway, he did his time, sadly passed away almost exactly a year ago today. About 2 days ago, actually. It was a year ago.
Yep.
Jesse Jackson Jr. to Congress in 1995. He was representing Illinois' 2nd Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives until his resignation in 2012. He's the son of activist and former presidential candidate Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson Jr. pleaded guilty on February 20th, 2013 to 1 count of wire and mail fraud in connection with his misuse of $750,000 campaign dollars. Now, I get a hard time with my life if I misuse $100, but this guy spent $750,000 of somebody else's money and finally got in trouble. Anyway, Jackson was sentenced to 2.5 years. He was released in the morning of June 22nd, 2015, as an remaining sentence in a halfway house. Number 2. The Empire State Gate Congress really needs to Christopher Collins served as the U.S. Representative for New York's 27th Congressional District from 2013 until his resignation in 2019. Collins, the former Western New York congressman who admitted his role in an insider trading scheme, was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison. He jumped into the spotlight in 2016 as the first member of Congress to endorse Donald Trump's presidential campaign. On December 9, 2019, Collins and the SEC agreed that Collins would be permanently barred from acting as an officer of any publicly traded company. In January of this year, federal prosecutors recommended that Collins receive maximum prison sentence of 5 years in prison. On January 17th of this year, he was sentenced, and Collins got 26 months in prison. I don't think he's checked into his new digs yet, but I'm sure that's coming soon, since there's not many appeals when you kind of admit it, and make a deal. And number 1, California. The Golden State sent us this nugget. Duncan Wayne Hunter is a politician who served as the U.S. representative for California's 50th Congressional District from 2013 to 2020. In August of 2018, the federal grand jury indicted Hunter and his wife on 60 counts of wire fraud, campaign finance violation, and conspiracy. The San Diego U.S. Attorney's Office accused the couple of conspiring to misuse about $1 million in campaign funds for personal expenses, as well as filing false campaign finance. Personal expenses charged in the campaign included vacations to Italy, Hawaii, theaters, and purchases on the gaming platform Steam. The indictment
Steam! Homebro's playing Steam!
his wife suggested that falsely report the purchase as golf balls for the Moving Warrior project, which that didn't fly. On another occasion, he tried to unsuccessfully arrange the tour of a Navy base in Italy to cover the family's vacation. When the Navy couldn't arrange something on the date Hunter wanted, he told his chief of staff to tell the Navy, and I won't use the real word, but it was tell the Navy to go F themselves. That's what he officially sent over to
Wow,
the
jerk.
The indictment also alleges that Hunter spent campaign money on personal relationships with 5 different women in the Washington, D.C. area.
Oh. What a cheating F. They'll move to these cities in 2020. Let's see. Minneapolis. Move to Minneapolis if you want to be literally looted because you did nothing.
Delaware beaches is the perfect place to start living the life you've been dreaming of. So why wait? In coastal Delaware, you can escape the hustle and bustle of everything.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to part 2 of Worst Towns for 2020 or 2020, however that's. Why do you bother complaining about it? Moving on. This is a list of cities and towns that are going downhill, and you should probably avoid
Minneapolis.
them if you have other options. In the last handful of years, most of America has seen some good times. People have jobs, the economy's growing, crime is down across the board. The towns and cities on this list are sort of swimming against the current. These are towns that all that progress is sort of skipped over. Good times train doesn't make stops in these places. Like I said in the last video, there are 4,464 cities in the United States, and only about 10% of them are appealing enough for most people to want to move there. Doesn't mean people aren't still moving to the crowded ones. They are, just in some cases, really strange. This list is in no particular order, so please keep that in mind when leaving your well-thought-out comment, I'm sure. That being said, if you're looking for a new city or town to call home, you should probably stay away from... Number 10, Bogalusa, Louisiana. Bogalusa is a small city of 12,000 people near the Mississippi border. Of the more than 4,464 cities considered, there are very few that have a lower median home price than Bogalusa. Most of the homes in the city cost less than $70,000. For comparison, the typical home in the U.S. is worth about $229,000. So yeah, there's a big difference there. Very few residents here can even afford the $70,000 home. The median household income in Bogalusa is just about $24,000 a year. Taking out a mortgage in this city probably isn't even the best idea. I'd even be cautious about renting here, even though the rent's dirt cheap. Maybe if they had those villa rental things. At least that way, you know, they take a little money out of your rent every month and put it aside for you when you finally leave. At least you haven't have to buy a bus ticket on your way out of town when you leave. And no, Villa's not paying me to say that. Bogalusa does have a country club. I've been to a few country clubs in my day, and this is the only one I've ever seen that has a dirt parking lot. Employment growth in the city over the past 5 years has exceeded 10% on a couple occasions. The poverty rate in Bogalusa is 36.3%. The overall crime rate in Bogalusa is 136% higher than the national average. Number 9, College Park, Georgia. College Park, with its population of 14,000 people, once was a nice city south of Atlanta. But like most cities that share the border with a major U.S. airport, it's gone to crap. Poverty in College Park is 136% higher than the national average. Areas with high poverty tend to struggle with crime, and surprise, surprise, crime is a major issue in College Park. The city's violent crime rate is nearly 4 times higher than the overall U.S. violent crime rate. Crime, poverty, and all the other stats that go along with a place that sucks, College Park is even more undesirable because of its proximity to Atlanta International Airport, which is those who live near the airport are subjected to loud noise, excessive levels of pollution, traffic, and businessmen looking for massages. Number 8, Pueblo, Colorado. Pueblo, Colorado is probably the worst Colorado city. Now, they have some towns that should probably be bulldozed and started again that are far worse than Pueblo, but as far as cities go, this is by far. The overall crime rate in Pueblo is 162% higher than the national average. You could actually be robbed while robbing someone in some city in Colorado. The population of 110,000 people and a poverty rate that's 66% higher than the national average. Pueblo is not some place you should consider moving to. If you ever visit Pueblo, you'll think that I had some other place in mind when I made this video. The downtown area is really nice. Nice river walk, amazing architecture, and friendly people. But if you drive away from downtown into some of the residential areas, get out of your car, walk around, you'll say to yourself, I see what Briggs was talking about. This place sucks. Hey, where's my car? I parked it right here. Oh my god, somebody stole my car. Number 7, Nanakuli, Hawaii. Even though Nanakuli has a relatively high average household income of $65,000 a year, residents typically don't have as much purchasing power as the average American. If you adjust the cost of living in Nanakuli to the rest of America, their purchasing power is about $40,000. You're someplace else in the United States. This is because the cost of living in the city is 65% higher than the national average. You would spend a lot of money to live in paradise. If you're as pasty white as I am, a good portion of that money goes to sunscreen and skincare. Twice as much if you find a new beach. Thanks, folks, will be here all week. A high cost of living is especially burdensome for people who are out of work. Nanakuli has an 8.3% 5-year unemployment rate, more than double the national average. Number 6, Arab, Alabama. So this little town is built around the title. I'm not kidding. The U.S. had an issue with growth that dated back to the 1800s.
Hey! Another bell tower! Whoa, look, there's another one. Why does this dude always have bell towers? There's another horn. I'd say on the dishes on the left, I'm like, ayo.
Bothered to correct it. But back to modern day ARAB. Fewer U.S. cities are shedding jobs faster than the ARAB. In the last 5 years, the number of people working in the city declined by 9.8%. Even as unemployment across the U.S. has gone down, they're going the wrong direction. Crime is also a problem in ARAB. There were 6,217 property crimes last year alone, which included burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft. They got a lot of crime in ARAB. Number 5, Detroit, Michigan. Anyone in the U.S. that hasn't been in a medically induced coma since the late 70s knows things haven't gone great for Detroit for some time now. Once an amazing example of what Americans can accomplish, today it's just a shelter of what it was. At one point, the city of Detroit had just under 2 million residents. Today, it's estimated they have less than 600,000. We'll know for sure the population of the 2020 census. Yes, the census is a department of the U.S. government that counts people. Not a dog whistle for all the conspiracy theorists to start saying how evil the census is. Let it go. Stop typing. Detroit is by far the largest city to rank among the worst places to live. Now, the motor city manufacturing sector has staged a bit of a comeback in recent years. It's got a long way to go before it's anywhere near what it once was. Unemployment in Detroit remains high. The census estimates that an average of 10.6% of the city's labor force has been unemployed at least once over the last 5 years. Not good. Their crime is high. There's abandoned homes. People are still flooding out of the place. It's kind of depressing, but they've gotten a little better. Number 4, Corcoran, California. A lot of people living in Corcoran don't want to be there. That's because they're inmates in California's state prison, Corcoran. This was everyone's favorite nut job goal because Charlie Manson's final home. Corcoran, California ranks among the worst cities to live in, largely because of the local economy. The city's 36% poverty rate is among the highest in the state and more than double the national poverty rate. Those in the city that do have some money, there's nothing to spend those entertainment dollars on. The number of bars, restaurants, and theaters, museums, and recreation centers per person are far lower in Corcoran than typical nationwide. Basically, they've got nothing. Drive around the prison and make noise to entertain the inmates, I guess. I don't know. If you do want some entertainment, you probably have to drive to Bakersfield, about an hour away. Once you get there, you'll probably turn right back around because Bakersfield is pretty dull too. Like many of the cities on this list, Corcoran's population is shrinking. The number of people living in the city fell by 7.3% over the last 5 years. At the 2010 census, they said they had about 22,000 residents. They're thinking it's going to get below 20,000 in the next census. Sucks to live in Corcoran. Number 3, Flint, Michigan. If you're thinking about moving to Flint, Michigan, this should be viewed as a cry for help to your loved ones. There is nothing good going on in Flint, nor will there be. There's no jobs, no future, no hope, no clean water. The only thing they do have a lot of is poverty. They got plenty to go around. They got enough for like 10 other cities. The poverty level in Flint is 177% higher than the national average. Flint is one of the poorest and most dangerous cities in the United States. About half of the households in Flint earn less than $43,000 a year. Flint has made national news in recent years after it was discovered that the city's water supply was contaminated with lead, very high levels. The contamination crisis has driven people out of the city and depressed the real estate to where it's like worthless. It's bad. I would just like to say to all of you, if you drink water in Flint, you're going to die early. The median home value is about $28,000, so you don't need a 30-year mortgage if you want to buy a house in Flint. Your loan crime rate is 79% higher than the national average, and water is poisonous. So if you can't afford your loan, you probably never live long enough to pay it off. So that's kind of sad. Number
there we go.
Most searchers, just that stat alone, common sense would tell you you should move, because some people didn't receive any common sense. They had 33 new residents in 2018. Really bad news for Benton Harbor is they also lost 175 residents since they were leaving. I'm assuming they had some really good common sense. The last 5 years, Benton Harbor's population declined by 1.7%, even though the U.S. population grew by 3.8%. They have no jobs here, there's no hope, winters are brutal, and the median home price is about $6,000. That's the only good news. I mean, if you want to call it good news, it's cheap. Why is it cheap? It sucks. Usually that's what you're anti-savior. Number 1, East St. Louis, Illinois. East St.
Yep.
Louis, Illinois only has 26,000 residents, and they are doing some damage. East St. Louis is the most dangerous city in the most dangerous metro area in the United States. If you're not sure how dangerous that is, think Jurassic Park after things went bad, but then add firearms and drugs. Across the border in the St. Louis metro area, there were 2,100 violent crimes for every 100,000 residents in 2018. That's more than 5 times the national violent crime rate of 380 for every 100,000 residents. In East St. Louis, they're going for the record. There were 2,752 violent crimes per 100,000 residents in 2018. That is more than 7 times the national rate. Struggling this place, like the ghost of Charles Manson or something like that. High crime areas are often poor, and many in East St. Louis face serious financial hardships. They're poor here. It's poor. Unsafe streets and widespread poverty are driving some out of the city. They're not driving some out of the city. They're busing some people out of the city. That's how fast they're leaving. Cars don't cut anymore. They're just filling up with buses and leaving. The good news is, though, you can get a house for $55,000 in East St. Louis. You're a major city. You can get a house in the city for $55,000. I mean, if you survive, it's a good deal.
Top 10 worst places to visit in South America if you're in the United States.
Thought about moving to South America? If you have, watch this video. You'll know some places you should probably avoid. What is going on, everyone?
Panama.
And a video on where not to live in South America. South America, like, friendly people. Friendly people, I would say, about 70%. 1% are American. That's just a sad fact. There's always that 10%. But more and more Americans are moving down to South America every single year. And I want to know where not to live. So right now, let's see where not to live in South America. Number 10, the Pond of Liberty. About 2 million residents at one point. The Pond of Liberty Pond was in Bolivia. Its metro area makes up the second most populous urban area in the country. This place is short on healthcare, money, safe places to live. What they are short on is wrecks, stray dogs, and political protests that often turn violent. Yet, for some reason, it's the city, every single block, almost looks like a maze because everything has like 7-foot tall walls surrounding their property. It's weird. And the cause has the worst prison on the planet. Kind of a strange place to live. And I say live because that's what people are doing there. It's more of a small city that's actually in a prison. This place has like kids playing there, they've got schools, they've got animals sleeping under tables, people shining shoes, women cooking over a gas stove. Inmates run the prison, and new inmates are required to buy their own cells, which no 2 cells are the same. They can get very pricey, so it's almost like you're buying a condo, and you gotta pay someone to get your cell. It's just weird. Extremely wealthy inmates, such as politicians or infamous drug traffickers or something like that, they'll build their own nice, sweet prison cell, you know? And I say sweet as in the type of place you stay, not like, ooh, dude, sweet prison cell. One guy actually built his own one, including a table and a jacuzzi.
What?
The air in the closet is so thin that your lungs won't really have a physical contact. It's located 13,000 feet above sea level, and it's the highest national capital. Now, here's something to look forward to. Police officers are extremely corrupt. They often dress in regular clothing, so they can pickpocket people. And then when you like pickpocket people, don't police officers, oh yeah, like the rest of them, they'll cause a situation where they want to founded in 1567 by a dude named Diego. In subsequent 454 years, it's gone downhill, consistently, like every single year. A little over 2 million people call Caracas home, and most of those people hate living there. Why? Because it sucks. You know your city blows when the street car hasn't bothered to go there. They haven't. A poor political and economic climate in Venezuela has led to widespread violence in Caracas. The military actually assigns days they're allowed to put gas in their car, according to the last number on your license plate. Yeah, now, they produce a lot of oil, but they still don't have enough gas. It's weird. But you can actually drive some $100 to fill your tank for any given day. Inflation is crazy here. President Nicolas Maduro grand plan to fix this situation was to rework the currency and lop off 5 zeros off it. He says it'll change the economy, monetary life in a radical way. This guy's a piece of work. So everyone's starving, everyone has problems, they got all these major things. He put out a video of his family eating dinner with butlers and
What a
him smoking
jerk.
big cigars. It was just weird, and it did nothing but anger more people. With a collapsing economy, people have started to trade goods for services instead of money. It is hot and humid in Caracas almost all the time. There's no running water in a lot of buildings. People have to collect water when it comes trickling down the pipes, and others have actually dug their own well in the city. Yeah, it's not a place you want to be hanging out or even think about moving to.
Breakfast sounds better together, doesn't it? Make it even more special with the hazelnut and cocoa taste of Nutella. Nutella, wake up to
Also known as what looks like the pasty poopy.
Number 8, Valencia, Venezuela. Not too far from Caracas, you got Valencia. Valencia is the third largest city in Venezuela. The city is the economic hub that contains Venezuela's top industries and manufacturing companies. The population is almost 2 million in the metro area, and the city of Valencia has a little over 800,000. So the place has some folks. It's no small town. The crime rate here has increased over the years due to extreme economic hardship and the political instability we've been talking about in Caracas. Robbery, kidnapping, and all forms of assault occur here on a high rate. My favorite is how tourists often report being robbed by the police at bus stations. Yeah, the police are ripping you off, but really, they do that in Mexico too. They pull you over, say you gotta come back to the police station for a ticket instead of giving you one right there, but if you give them $100, the ticket's taken care of. Environmental issues including sewage pollution in Valencia Lake, oil and urban pollution. The place is just nasty. Deforestation, soil degradation, it's kind of a nightmare. Not just the people, the crime, and all that, and the poverty, the land around it is just getting trashed. Venezuela's state-run economic model wasted the world's largest oil reserve. Yeah, it was all because of corruption and they did stupid things. The country currently owes $100 billion to foreign creditors, and a lot of that has to do with just the corrupt political system they have there. Venezuela's crisis has been marked by corruption, hyperinflation, and one of the world's highest homicide rates, along with food and medicine shortages. You know, all the good things that go into a really crappy country.
Yep,
But
great.
Valencia itself is just falling in step with the rest of Venezuela. Just a nightmare, just falling apart. It's gonna get nothing but worse in the coming years. Don't move here. Number 7, Natal, Brazil. Here's the good.
No, no, I don't want to go to Brazil. You are going to Brazil.
Tourist destination.
I'm sorry, I had to pull that meme up.
The tourist areas look nice, and that's fine. Go into the neighborhood and you see the real Natal. They have a high crime rate right now with all forms of assault, carjacking, and murders.
Look at all the Titanite rolling down the hill.
First ask questions later type community
I'm a piece of
policing.
Titanite.
that
Yeah, I'm rolling
is
down
one of
that
the main
hill.
reasons
And
for
I'm
the
a piece
increase in
of
crime.
Titanite. I spelled it through titanium. And I make little carbon alloy. And I make people
Where it
happy.
is growing, it's kind of not equal. They're in sort of a situation where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting extremely poor in the tall. Now, there are other places in Brazil that are much more dangerous, the slums of Rio and things like that. This is just one I put in here because it's getting worse and not a lot of people realize that they're still looking at this as a place to visit, tourists, or maybe even live there, you know? It's weird. Number 6, Santiago, Chile.
Santiago.
First, I don't advise breathing in Santiago, Chile, ever. Santiago is one of the worst places on the planet for air quality. Invest in some of those masks. Not the ones we've been using for COVID, but those ones you see military use, or you move into the hills. One of the other. Groceries are limited and or are expensive. You'll find yourself often in physical conflict for the last loaf of bread at a store. Chile's had some serious food shortage issues in the last few years, and even more so last year during the whole COVID lockdown thing. They got really bad. They had protests in a lot of the poor neighborhoods. Crime here isn't that bad compared to others on this list, but you still have, like, old school purse snatchers and pickpockets here. Number 5, Medellin, Colombia. Medellin is most famous for Pablo Escobar. If you don't know him, he was the biggest supplier of, let's call them, street pharmaceuticals back in the day. He was eventually killed by government forces. In Medellin, he's considered to be a hero and role model. They've even created Pablo Escobar tours. And no, it's not like wine tasting. You don't get to sample any of his product. Anything you can imagine would catch you a felony here in the United States happens in broad daylight in some parts of Medellin, like in the open, right out in front of everyone. Getting robbed here is unfortunately very common, and it's often from dudes on motorcycles. Driving here is just straight up dangerous because of how aggressive the drivers are, and they have no courtesy whatsoever. If you're walking across the street, they won't even slow down. They'll hit you. To be fair, they do have some nice looking parts of the city. It's just too bad a large majority of this city is a frickin' nightmare. Medellin is one of the plastic surgery capitals of the world, and the most common surgery here? Butt implants. Yeah, butt implants. The pollution is so bad in Medellin that sometimes you can look outside and not even see the other end of the valley, which is very common in Los Angeles, but I guess it's pretty bad here too, or even worse. It's actually advised not to be doing physical exercise. They actually tell people, don't do any exercise today, the air is too bad. That sucks. Then the trash on the streets. I mean, look at Google Street View. You just go up and down any place, and there's just piles of trash everywhere. Like, granted, there are some nice areas, like I said, and the trash may not be as bad there, but some of the other neighborhoods, yeah, it's just mile high.
I smell battery.
Number 4, Juliaca, Peru. Juliaca is a city with a little over 275,000 residents near Lake Titicaca at about
Wait,
12,000 feet
ready?
above sea level. But the air's kind of thin here, much like La Paz. Poverty rules
Oh, it's a
this
medium
city,
one.
not just the people. The city is poor. Over half the streets are dirt, and from what I can tell, this city of 275,000 doesn't own a trash truck. The place is filled with smugglers from street pharmaceuticals to household appliances with gold. It's estimated that about 60% of people
Oh,
here
no.
are involved in some form of trafficking.
The heck?
The air quality is shot. Poverty is an extreme issue. Like Chicago, they actually call it the windy city because they get a lot of wind here. Chicago, they call it because of hot air coming out of politicians back in the day. This place actually gets wind, and they call it windy city. If you end up here as a tourist or for some unknown reason decide you want to live here, they recommend you don't go out at night. Yeah, or venture into most of the city. There's just a few areas you can go and feel relatively safe. Number 3, Guayaquil, Ecuador. Guayaquil gets on this list for 2 main reasons: water quality and air quality. Don't get me wrong, they have a laundry list of reasons not to move here, but those 2 are epically bad. Never, I say never, drink the tap water here. It is contaminated with bacteria that'll make you sick and possibly eat your brain. Fruit juices are often mixed with
Isn't that
water
one
that
bacteria
is
that eats your
usually
brain out?
unpasteurized, and ice is also made with tap water. So when you ask for a drink, ask for it with no ice. And invest in some anti-diarrhea medicine if you plan to visit or stay long. The air quality here rivals that of a coal mine that's been on fire for a week or 2, and they have trash piled up in the center dividers of the streets in the non-tourist areas. The tourist areas are pretty nice, don't get me wrong. They put on a good show. Get outside the tourist area and it's a different story. I mean, that is true with almost every city on the planet, but this one steps it up a notch. Some vaccinations that are recommended, although not required, are Hep A, yellow fever, Hep B shots, and you also run the risk of getting malaria every single day you're there. So keep that in mind. Now here's another good piece of news for this place. Guayaquil has a history of kidnappings from this area.
Oh,
You go
nice.
on a hike,
I'm
next thing you
interested.
know, you're stuck in a little camp in the middle of the jungle and they're asking your parents for $50,000. The weather here is not spring-like. You might think it's going to be because it's,
It's like Illinois. You never know what's gonna happen.
Nah, this place has never-ending rain things some people complain about, and it's in the low 30s at night. Don't forget there's no central heating to any of the homes here. Number 2. Buenaventura, Colombia. The city was founded on July 14, 1540 by a dude named Juan. At the time, it was inhabited by an indigenous tribe. For around 50 years or so, it continued to grow and became somewhat of a landing spot for ships going up the west coast of the Americas. At some point, the local indigenous people decided they were sick of the Europeans and tried to evict them, and they destroyed the city sometime around 1600. These days, it's the largest port city in Colombia. This port brings in more revenue than any other city in the country, but about 2/3 of the population are still living in extreme poverty. Drug trafficking rules this city, often threatening civilians that oppose them, and everyone's afraid to turn them in or anything like that. So they have free reign on the city. I don't know if you'd want to have free reign on this city. I mean, few people have access to clean drinking water. Many people live in shacks on stilts over the sea, and the only public hospital here lacks most equipment. It has hardly anything. Go there and get a bandage and a couple aspirin. The 4 previous mayors are in prison, or at least were in prison at some point. While most of Colombia is kind of getting his act together and being more friendly for tourism, this one is something you should not even go near. Their violence is getting worse. Back in 2014, Vice, the YouTube channel, and I know they're on HBO too, but anyway, it's a website. They did a thing on them, and someone was hacking up bodies back then. Like 26 people at that point had been found dismembered and like thrown on the side of the road and stuff. It's a pretty scary place. You should never go here. Before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also hit that little bell thing. It notifies you when we upload a new video. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Paramaribo,
Suriname.
Some things in life are worth protecting. Life needs water. Make it primo.
When you prefer dream vacation over a rental nightmare, it matters where you stay. Hilton for the stay.
Paramaribo is really hard to say, first of all, and I'm sure I said it wrong, but it's the capital and largest city in Suriname. If you don't know where this country is,
Should be like,
it's on the Atlantic side of South America, north of Brazil. Besides, nobody
oh yeah, I
knows
should
where
say
this place is. It isn't for people that really want a vacation or a place to live that has tropical beaches and it's, taking it easy. This place is kind of rough, and their beaches suck. One of the biggest problems with living here is everyone says it's corruption. It's so bad that their former president was charged with murder in January of 2020 after he executed 15 activists. Yeah, that's great. He was also found guilty of drug smuggling in 1999 and sentenced to 11 years until he became president. Suriname's economy rumbled under him and really put the country in bad shape. A couple things you should know about the place. A, water. Always an issue with places like this. Don't drink the water here. And there really isn't a dry season. It rains throughout the year here. A yellow fever vaccination is required here, and a hepatitis A vaccination is recommended. It gets worse. Almost 3% of the adults living in Suriname have HIV or AIDS. That's 1 in 47 adults, which is 4 times higher than the US. And that's going by 2018 numbers. If they change it a little bit, who knows? Now, this is the best piece of advice I read over and over on. Avoid walking downtown in Paramaribo, and the Palm Garden after dark. Criminals often target foreigners here, and it can get pretty bad. It's also recommended that you don't use your debit or credit cards here. Use prepaid cards only because they have a high frequency of identity theft here. Alright, that is 10 places you should not live in South America. Hope that helped someone. Hope you got some information out of it. Don't forget all the links below. Like I said, everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.
Every state ranked by education.
I've been getting more and more questions about where the best education in the United States can be had. Education is one of the most important chapters of our lives and our children's lives. One of the first things people with children look into when relocating is how are the schools. In the old days, you just looked at which schools had the highest test scores. These days, the search has taken a tragic turn where school safety has become more and more of a thing. There are several organizations that gather data for lists like this: School.ru, Department of Education, and the Public School Review, to name a few. This list ranks all 50 state school systems by student success, school quality, and student safety. Also, each state was ranked using a 100-point scale. There are a bunch of factors that go into that final score with different categories.
I'm going to go pick myself a drink. Oh shoot, no. No. Bye guys, I'll probably be back later.